All right, Dave, let's get to it. Let's start with something that always comes up at the Meadowlands every year. It's one of the great nights in all of harness racing. In fact, it's the greatest night in harness racing, Meadowlands Pace Night. Let's talk a little bit about Meadowlands Pace Winterbook Top 10. Now, Ken Warkentin put this list together. As most of you probably know, I put together the road to the Meadowlands Pace, and Kenny and I disagree on the top two. Let's start with number one, Early Action, who looked very good on November the 20th, winning the Governor's Cup.
Yeah, this was the Governor's Cup, and this was an exceptional trip and drive, an effort by the horse, the Joe Holloway trainee, Brian Sears, digging in and holding on to catch her. He did beat Hammering Hank that night, too. They had a really nice epic lockup there at one point, but we saw who was best on that particular night. Now, keep in mind, Early Action is a gelding. And, you know, Joe Holloway, we talked about it, you know, at the Red Mile last year on the Grand Circuit. He doesn't geld hardly any horses, but he had to do that. That's what turned him around. He is a son of Huntsville, who was really making himself a mark as a stallion. So, you know, the rivalry will be renewed. Of course, Monty Mickey is the horse that won the Dan Patch Championship as the freshman. So let's take a look and show him back on October 20th in his season finale, the Breeders' Crown right here. And you want to talk about that, you know, Monsoon kind of a night, a really big dig-in effort. He held on for Scott Zeron and trainer Mark Evers. Look at how sloppy it was, Dave. You and I both remember how rough it was because we were doing the interviews that night. But look at these two go at it down the stretch. Was he ever passed?
I say he was.
Well, you know, Scott Zeron says no.
Right.
You know him. I'm going to trust him, not you.
All right, thanks.
But, you know, it was just something that I think we can really look forward to. You know, Mark Evers, of course, he's not a familiar name here on the East Coast, but he has been a good long-term horseman out in the Midwest. Now, Hammering Hank, you can certainly make your case for him. Back on November 13th, you know, the Breadpelling Trainee really just excelled. And you know what? This is typical Breadpelling, too. When he gets himself a hold of a talented young horse, he doesn't go all the way down to the well, especially at age 2. So this was his excellent effort in the kindergarten final, and you see he's totally under wraps here. What a strong performance this was. Now, if he grows up and matures even a little bit, watch out.
Yeah, I spoke with Pelling during the course of the year. He said this horse has big-time speed, and when the driver asks for it, Hammer and Hank delivers. 8 of 11 last year, almost $300,000 in the bank, and it should be noted, his 3 losses came twice to Monty Mickey and once to Early Action.
Yeah, that's why it was such a good year for the 2-year-old racing. You know, we saw it at every track, everywhere, every level, every size track. It was just a really good season for the young colts and geldings, and we're going to see how much they grow up and mature. We've got one more piece of video to show you. Let's not leave out trainer Brian Brown in a conversation like that. He's got 6 feet apart as one of a couple of very talented colts in his barn, so he's going to be heard from on the Grand Circuit here. Solid bunch of 2-year-olds. This was just a $21,000 yearling who got a late start. Now, Brian Brown, the extremely expert horseman that he is, he doesn't rush any of his colts, you know, and he really was under no pressure with a $21,000 yearling, but he showed the kind of ability, you know, and that extreme speed and guts and determination that you like to see. So there's our 4 videos. We've got, you know, a list of 10 of them there. We'll mention Beach Glass, you know, from Canada for Paul McDonnell and Brent McGrath.
So lightly raced that Beach Glass.
Well,
only
that's
5
okay.
starts.
Yeah, he got a late start too,
Yeah.
but he definitely showed some ability and some speed here when he got down to the Meadowlands at the end. And we'll go all the way to the bottom of the list there. Caviar Camden, don't want to not leave him out of there. The world record holder, 148-3 from Lexington, saw that mile. Tony Alanya, Yannick Gingras in the Kentucky Championship Series. He's a homebred colt for Buck and Judy Chafee's Caviar Farm. So really, we're sitting on a really good glamour boy division coming up this season.
Yeah, no question, because, you know, Brett Pelling's a multiple Meadowlands Pace winner. Obviously, Brian Brown, we know that he's had Fear the Dragon down by the seaside working on a mystery. Tony Alanya, you know that he's going to poke his head around there because he always has a couple, usually in the Meadowlands Pace final. It's going to be another tremendous 3-year-old pacing year for the males, and we obviously always look forward to the Meadowlands Pace. I believe it's that second Friday, or third Saturday in July. We'll have to double check
I'll
that.
be here and you'll be here.
Yeah,
we
that's
know
for
that.
Sure. We'll be here, no doubt about it. All right, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Saturday night featured action.